softball, then you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello and welcome to the Fastpitch TV show. I'm your host, Gary Leland, and I bring this show every week. Just check our website on Fridays for the newest episode. Now, if you found our show on Facebook, YouTube, Apple TV, or some other video sharing device, please check out my website at fastpitch.tv. It's home of the Fastpitch TV network and a place to find all my softball video channels and softball blogs. It's basically a network for Fastpitch softball. Now, please check it out at fastpitch.tv. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you know I'm a big fan of Softball Con. I go every year. Softball Con's held every January in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, if you're not familiar with Softball Con, go to their website, softballcon.net, and check it out today. Now, this week I'm going to bring you part 3 of a great clinic with University of Kentucky Associate Head Coach Kristine Himes. And the title of her clinic is Don't Get Caught with Your Head in the Sand, a look at situational coaching. Now, if you've not seen part 1 or 2, you may want to go take a look at those episodes first. It's episode 211 and 212 before watching this one. I'll bring you the clinic right after this word from my sponsor.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to softballjunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout, and wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Turn left, 60 feet, turn left. We like to go 120. Okay, right out of the box, you're gonna run until somebody stops you. From first, you're gonna run until somebody stops you. Definitely from second, we're running until somebody stops us, okay? We can't expect to have intuitive base runners unless we practice it. Okay, I think probably for the first 2 years, and Molly can correct me, I think for the first 2 years it always made a practice plan, but we never got to it. So I think for us, we moved it to first. We now do it, as soon as dynamics happen, we do base running, unless it's part of hitting. Teach base runners to make their own decisions. Allow players to be overly aggressive so they find their own limits. We actually have an advantage, probably to most of you. We have a fall that's 8 games. So pretty much we just tell them you're going to run until somebody throws you out, okay? And that's how we can establish that. We also practice it. So again, during practice, and I've got a few clips here. From first, they're going to run to third. Okay, from second, they're going to run home. Okay, so you got to just put them in situations where they're comfortable to do that. And then you can add in situations where they can read it off the bat and make their own decisions. Create an offensive advantage on every pitch, okay? Learn to take the extra base. Ball angle running, which is what we talked about. Trail runner responsibilities, which was Megan All. As soon as she sees them chasing everybody else, you just keep running. If they're going to keep chasing people, you just keep running. And on-deck batter responsibilities. And that's as far as just making sure that on-deck batter puts herself in a position to help that runner who's going to come home. Okay? Down, up, and make sure they have hand signals as well. Go ahead, Molly. So this is one of our base running practices. Go ahead, Molly. We'll just play it. I'll copy as it goes. We're going to get leads right here. So this is actually working on, you got a pitch going into the catcher. The ball touches the ground, they got to take off. Ball's into Yaki. This is Megan Yaki. She is a pitcher this year. Okay, so they're taking hard leads off. And once she catches, if she comes back, they're diving back in. Any other opportunity, they're taking second. So now we add a little bit of life. That runner from first is rounding, and they're going to slide into third here. The runner from second is reading the ball off the tee. So there's a lot you can do in one pitch, in one session. So our runner from third is again reading the ball off of the tee. If it's in the air, she runs back and tags. And then she's legit running home. Okay, so we're anticipating the play at home, and she's sliding, the sliding mat here is the catcher. We're taking out the catcher. Again, so ball in the dirt, they're taking off. And I'll let it run through here again, and you guys can watch them. I'll just talk when I need to. And you can have multiple lines, okay? So that's also the key. So we have 2 lines here at first. So you don't always just have to have one person on the base. You can create lines. So if you just want to have the ability to just to watch everybody take a lead and get back, then just make more lines. Again, so off. And again, so you're working on ball angle here. You're also working on the trail runner. So you can put it all into one drill, however you want to create it. Go ahead, Lon. We'll go on. So we have a fundamental checklist. If many of you have ever met Coach Lawson, we have a fundamental checklist for everything. We got caught the first year coaching at UK, going to UTC, bases loaded, routine ground ball hit to the shortstop, picks it up, throws it home, hits catch in the glove and falls to the ground. And immediately she turned around and said, "We didn't practice that." Dang, who knew? So we have a fundamental checklist for everything, and everything on here we'll practice, whether it's defense, offense. This happens to just be offensive situations, more so baseline. So running technique, and we happen to have a strength coach who goes over this for us, so we don't have to make it up. But running technique doesn't typically come into effect in softball, although some of your faster kids, as far as their starts and their takeoffs, that's where it's key. The running lane from home to one, and I think that for our athletes to know it's there and why it's there is key too, because if they get hit not in that running lane, they're out. So we try to get them in it. It's questionable during the game, but we try to get them in it. Rounding bases, and I think we have to practice it, and it's, question mark. Ultimately, we just make sure our athletes hit with that right foot. Got it? So that they're not hitting it with the left and having to cross over. Okay, so we just practice that outside foot and hitting and taking a good angle onto the next base. Leadoffs with reaction to pitch, which you saw in the last one. Stealing from second versus stealing from first or third. Technically stealing from third, you'd have hopefully a ball on the ground. The difference here being, again, with that second, the runner on second having the bird's eye view, technically, even with 3 umpires, it's the home plate umpire's call, and I don't know if there's umpires in the room who are with us. Don't listen if you are. We're gonna leave really early, okay? Nobody's gonna call it. If we're gonna steal third from second, we're taking off. And if they wanna call us out, then I'm okay with that. But to my knowledge, in the book that I was given, it's the home plate umpire, and I think he has more than enough to handle, okay? So your runner on second, if that umpire's not hawking them out, take off, buddy, okay? You gotta take every advantage you can. Sliding, we practice feet first, head first, pop-up slide. And I think the disclaimer with pop-up sliding is that all slides, assuming you're sprinting and accelerating into it, assuming nobody's holding you down as far as a collision, you're gonna pop up, okay? Our athletes come in and they believe when we say pop-up slide, you wait till the last minute, and you jack your ankle into the ground and then pop up onto the base. No. Got it? You still gotta slide early, you still gotta be safe, and then hopefully you've sprinted fast enough that once you hit that base, your athletes are strong enough, they're just gonna get up on their own. Okay, so to us, there's really not a difference from just sliding feet first or a pop-up slide. Assuming, again, they haven't collided with anybody to keep them down, they should be up on their feet, looking for the next base. First and third situations, we'll practice this from, again, this is all base running. Situations where let your athletes get kind of creative, and then you start adding in your own plans here. Picking up the third base coach. Our thing with runner from second, or even sometimes a runner from third, if they round second and I haven't held them up in any particular degree, they're scoring. Okay? Or we have a sign for them to take a huge round and then get their behinds back. Responsibilities when becoming the trail runner. And again, their responsibility when they become the trail runner is as many bases as the defense is going to give them, they're supposed to take. Okay? Again, you go as far as you can until somebody stops you. Where to run in the rundown? Okay? If your athletes get caught in a rundown, run towards the athlete who's going, run towards the glove. Got it? Run towards the glove. Or if you get an athlete who's outside, okay, so infield is for infielders, so even when you're practicing rundown, your infield has to break to the inside. That's where they're allowed, okay? If your infielders get out, you can even practice that. Your base runners run into them, okay? Then they're safe, okay? Otherwise, you run towards the glove. Squeeze, suicides, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Your athletes still aren't comfortable stealing from third, okay? So off on the pitch on a squeeze, they should be off like they're stealing home. Okay, the key to also that is, oftentimes, it just becomes a foot race back to third with the shortstop. So if it gets screwed up in any particular fashion, it just becomes a foot race. So they don't always have to feel like they have to get into the rundown. Now they can if it happens to have been a first and third. Okay, and hopefully that runner from first is on third anyway. But the breakdown simply becomes a foot race back to third. Hit and run versus run and hit. Okay, for us, a hit and run is that runner stealing. Okay, a run and hit is I gave the steal sign, the hitter is aware that I gave the steal sign, and if that next pitch is a strike that they can drive, then they're driving it, okay? So that, to us, that is the difference between that. Reading the bunt and reacting. Our leadoffs at first are predicated, especially when they know there's a bunt, their hips stay towards second, okay? They might just take baby steps. Once it's down, they accelerate. There's not a hard lead and a square. Okay, on a bunt situation, their hips always stay towards second. In fact, that's how we try to teach all of our leads. Okay, your hips are always towards the base you want to go to. On-deck responsibilities. And again, simply for them to get into a good position out of the play where that base runner can see them down or up or get outside or get inside. Okay, with hand gestures. Here's another one of our workouts, base running workouts. Go ahead, Molly, you play. Again, we're working here on this is big to us. Anytime the ball touches the ground, you're taking off. We got to take the next base. That is still the longest throw with a ball in the dirt that the catcher again has to cleanly field, get around, and still try to make a good throw with a good catch on the other end. This is, and I don't know, and I think Coach Bloomer once told me that you guys don't get to sneaky steal. So here we would have been practicing the runner going from home, sprinting through first base, reading. You'll see. So this is the shortstop right here. And as she turns her back and walks away, we're going to take the next base. I don't know that you guys are allowed to do that. He told me you weren't, so I don't know the rules. So don't work that into your practice plan then. But here we have Megan all going first and third, but you saw in the video she went home to third. Okay, so you have to you got to practice it all. We cannot expect to have aggressive base runners if we don't practice it. This is a whistle drill. So we have one whistler going off of the pitch and one whistler going off of the base runner. So those whistles should match, okay? And this is just for them to reaffirm their leads, their timing of their leads.
Have you heard about the great softball coaches clinic that Fastpitch TV is hosting? They have a great lineup of speakers, including softball pitching great Kat Osterman. See all the speakers at www.fastpitch.tv/clinic. I'm sure this clinic's gonna sell out quick, so get your ticket today.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed part 3 of Coach Himes' clinic. Make sure and come back next week for the 4th and final part of her clinic. Now, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you need to look at all the apps I've created today for those devices. This time I've created 8 different apps for the iPhone and iPad. Just go to app.fastpitch.tv. Don't forget to check out our new skills video channel at coacheslook.com. It's a great way for high school players to get their videos noticed by college coaches. And it's free. That's the best part about it. Well, until next week, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network.